as Marquez Benitez. She was pioneering Filipino writer, educator, and editor, best known for her contributions to Philippines literature in English. She was born on March 3, 1894 in Luzon, Quezon, Philippines, to a proponent family. Marquez Benitez attended the University of the Philippines, where she earned a degree in liberal arts in 1912. During her time at the university, she became deeply involved in literary activities, which laid the foundation for her future contributions to the Philippine literature.
Dead Stars by Paz Marquez Benitez. Through the open window, the air steeped outdoors passed into his room, quietly enveloping him, stealing into his very thoughts. It was the first week of Lent, and the wind was steady and chill at early morning. To a passer-by, the house, low, wide and spacious, desolate with age and neglect, with walls not sufficiently high to hide the big, ugly, barren tree of the yard and the half-ruined stone fountain in it. The house, with its open doors and windows, seemed to be exhaling a coolness, an earth-scented breath. The perfume was faint and subtly disturbing. It seemed a ghost of the past, a breath of some dream long, long ago, forgotten and now coming back like a phantom in the night. The day was clear and beautiful. The sky was like a clear mirror of glass in which the pale blue of the ocean's depth was reflected. Approaching steps made him turn his head. The door slowly opened, letting in a much louder burst of sound from the piano in the parlor. A woman entered, tall and slender, with a wealth of loose black hair falling to her shoulders. She carried a small tray with a glass and a decanter of water, a plate with biscuits and some fruit. "Good morning, Carmen," he greeted her. "Have you had breakfast?" "No, I came to get you." He rose, stretched himself, and smiled at her. "All right, I am coming. What's the matter?" "Nothing, but you mustn't stay too long. It is almost 10 o'clock. You know, Mother." "I will be there in a moment," he answered. Carmen went out with a smile, leaving the door half open. He turned to the window and looked out, deeply breathing the fresh air of morning, feeling a vague sadness in his soul. The piano notes, rising and falling in clear cadence, filled the room with their insistent music, carrying him back to the past, perhaps to his childhood. For the old-fashioned square, the piano had once been his mother's, and the music played was once of her time. Carmen played well and feelingly, her touch full of rippling grace and fine sensibility. For a moment he thought of the past, of those dead years full of dull, gray days and nights, monotonous like the sea with no horizon. Then he turned and walked towards the door, picking up his coat and putting it on as he went. He entered the hall, passing through the light drawing room with crowded furniture which was rarely used. Carmen followed him to the dining room. He found the family seated at the table, his father, sisters, and brothers. He sat down, drawing his chair close to the table, smiling at his mother who occupied the end of the table. Breakfast was almost over, but he drank his coffee leisurely, talking now and then with the others. Finally, he rose, took a cigar from his pocket, lighted it, and walked to the open window overlooking the garden. "Alfredo," his mother called. Alfredo. He turned and walked towards her. What is it, mother? He asked, sitting on a chair beside her. His mother was sewing, her eyes lowered, her hand moving regularly in her lap. She did not look at him, but after a while she said softly, without raising her head, Alfredo, I want to ask you something. What is it, mother? He asked gently. Are you serious about Esperanza? Why do you ask that, mother? He countered quietly, his eyes intent on her face. Because she is asking, Alfredo, and we have been hearing rumors. What rumors? That you are not really serious about her. What do you mean by not serious? Do you want to ask whether I love her or not? What is it, mother? His mother did not answer immediately. Then she said, What I mean, Alfredo, is this. Are you going to marry her? Why should you doubt it, mother? He asked quietly. But there was a hint of impatience in his tone. Because, my son, you have been engaged to her for so long. We have been hearing rumors that you do not mean to marry her. He was silent for a while. Then he rose and walked to the window again. He stood there with his back to his mother, smoking his cigar. When he spoke, his voice was slow and constrained. I don't know, mother. Perhaps I don't really love her. His mother looked up, her hand pausing in its work. For a while, she seemed unable to speak. Then she said slowly, Then you should not have kept her waiting all these years, Alfredo. That is not right. I know, mother. Then why don't you tell her so? Tell her what, mother? That you are not going to marry her. But I have promised. I cannot break my promise. Besides, it is too late now. It is never too late to do the right thing, Alfredo. He did not answer. That afternoon, he went to see Esperanza. She was sitting on the porch, embroidering a white linen handkerchief. She smiled when she saw him and put aside her work. Good afternoon, Alfredo, she greeted him. I was just thinking of you. Good afternoon, Esperanza, he answered, sitting beside her. How have you been? Very well, thank you. And you? I am all right. For a while they sat in silence. Then Alfredo said abruptly, Esperanza, there is something I want to tell you. What is it, Alfredo? She asked, looking at him with a little frown of concern. I don't know how to begin. Then he said, hesitating, Esperanza, I think I have made a mistake. I thought I loved you, but now I am not sure. I don't think I really do. Esperanza's face grew pale and her hands trembled. For a moment she did not speak. What do you mean, Alfredo? Are you trying to break our engagement? I don't know, Esperanza. I am not sure of anything now. I thought I loved you, but now I don't know. I don't want to marry you if I don't really love you. That would not be fair to you. Esperanza's eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. She rose and faced him. Thank you for telling me the truth, Alfredo. It is better to know now than later. I will release you from your promise. She turned and walked into the house, leaving Alfredo standing on the porch, feeling a strange mixture of relief and sorrow. Years passed. Alfredo married the other woman, Julia Salas, and they had children, but he never forgot Esperanza. He often thought of her, wondering what had become of her. He heard that she married a man from her own town and had a family of her own.